Hello, I'm Anthony David Hobbs, and this is my review of, well, I'll just get the visual aid. Here we go. This is a huge book. It's very, very heavy, but here we go. There we are, visual aid. Okay. E.T., the Extra Terrestrial. There we are. A magical moment, and it's a full moon. Yeah, really cool stuff, yeah. So yeah, this is my take on the movie E.T. Well, okay, I'll start at the beginning, right at the beginning. I think I was about 2 3/4, so I was a toddler. And my elder sister told me about this movie E.T. and how amazing it was and everything. However, she didn't tell me it's about an alien. So when she said this little man that's in a dressing gown gets drunk in the kitchen and bumps into things everywhere, I thought she was talking about a little dwarf, a little man with a beard and a dressing gown. And so, yeah. She assumed I already knew it was an alien. Yeah, okay. But she said, no, it is a really big deal, getting drunk and bumping into things. Oh, okay. And then she said all the boys on their push bikes start floating in the air. Yeah. And I was like, that's impossible. Bicycles can't fly in the air. But she assured me it does happen in the film and that it's a really big deal. Yeah. And then I remember in a breakfast cereal, these free E.T. stickers came out. And, oh no, not stickers. Those things are very similar to stickers. You put them on a cupboard door, put a pencil and rub it on like that, and the sticker goes on like that. And I remember an ABC book teaching kids how the letters of the alphabet, and it was something that began with a different letter that happens in the course of events of the film. So yes, I knew of E.T., just hadn't actually seen the film. I remember when I was at play school or preschool, one little boy had a cuddly toy of E.T. and it went missing and nobody knew where it was. Has anyone seen Shane's E.T.? You know, everyone knew what E.T. looked like, yeah, even if you hadn't seen the film. Which is a shame, really, because, yes, when the film first came out, we had that image I just showed you there, the silhouette of E.T. on a BMX bike floating in the air. And then there was the other thing, the poster of the human hand touching the alien hand like that. That was it, you know, because when the movie was brand new, they didn't show what the creature looked like. After a lot of people had seen the film, oh yes, E.T. merchandise here, there and everywhere. And I remember I knew that the image of the glowing finger like that because the book, that was on the front cover of the book version, yeah. So yes, I got that E.T. was a really big deal. I just hadn't gotten around to seeing the film. I do remember when I was 8 years old, I read a comic, I think it was called The Beezer, and there was a scene in the story where one woman cried a lot because she'd seen a film that made her cry at the end. And I remember thinking, that's silly. Nobody would ever cry when they see a film because it's not real. It's just pretend. They're not real characters. That's a silly idea. Why would anyone cry? But yeah, people assured me it has been known to happen. Well, it happened to me, yes. 1 year later, when I was 9 years old, saw the movie E.T. and the end made me cry, yes. So, yes, that's extremely rare. Only 3 movies have ever made me cry, and E.T. is one of them. Well, that's good in a way. It means the movie is very well done. It's so believable that, yes, you believe you're really there, yeah. And it has an emotional effect, yeah. Okay, so let's talk about the film itself. E.T. Extra Terrestrial. I found out later that was a term used many years before the film. Terrestrial means of planet Earth. Extraterrestrial means away from the Earth, so an inhabitant that is not of this Earth. And I remember, I think we rented it on video. Oh yes, E.T. Normally, of course, when a film is a year old or 2 years old, they release it on video. Not this one. They waited about 6 years and then eventually released it on video. And then we rented it on video a year later. I think because they'd made as much money as they could by in the cinema. Yeah, it made more money than Star Wars. It was a massive blockbuster. A bit rough luck on all those kids that didn't see it in the cinema, though. Yeah, I was too little to go to the cinema when it came out, so no, I had to wait till I was 9 until I eventually saw it. Well, better late than never, yeah. Yeah, it was a huge success, yeah. And I do remember, yes, kids older than me telling me about E.T. because they'd seen it and I hadn't. Finally got round to seeing it. And yes, the creatures, the aliens, are very strange and mysterious. We don't see their faces, we just see their hands picking up plants because they're botanists. They're like scientists that study different plants from different planets. Yeah, and they have a big plant collection inside their spaceship. But they're very aware that the risk of exposure. They mustn't let humans know they're here. And that's why they land in an isolated area in the middle of a forest. Then the spaceship leaves suddenly, abruptly, because they've been spotted, they've been discovered by the Secret Service or FBI or the government, basically. And that they all scarper, get inside the ship and leave quickly, yeah. E.T. has accidentally been left behind, yeah. And, oh yes, that scene when we get to meet Elliot and his brother and his sister, and his older brother called Michael playing Dungeons and Dragons. I thought they were just playing a card game. I thought, no, they're playing a very famous board game, Dungeons and Dragons. But they won't let him join in because he's too little, you know. He isn't deemed an equal to them, yeah. And then afterwards, Elliot, someone or something throws a ball at him out the tool shed, so he's terrified. He tells the others, all they see is some footprints from some sort of animal, and they think it's the coyote, you know, yeah. And but Elliot is determined to prove that this alien is really real, whatever it is. He goes out on his own. Oh yes, and I remember as an adult watching this film, if you think there's an alien out there and you want to prove it, you've got a torch here, don't go out on your own. No, it might be dangerous. You don't know what you're dealing with. This is the complete unknown. And it made logical sense when I was a child, yes, but looking at it might not be safe, yeah. He sees the alien, E.T. screams in terror and runs away, and Elliot himself screams in terror as well. But then afterwards, like a minute later, his fear turns into intrigue. He goes, it's real, it's a real alien. I'm going to be the first human ever to make contact, yeah. Oh yes, the poster, well there were several different E.T. posters. The one with E.T.'s hand, glowing fingers touching the human hand like that, yeah. Well, that's symbolic for two reasons, because he has a finger that can heal. When he's got a bad finger, heals his finger. But also this symbol, it simply means contact. Both physical and mentally and emotionally. Contact with alien life. It's a first contact story, yeah. And Elliot, yes, afterwards he makes friends with the alien. He doesn't know if it's safe or not, but he just has to know. He has to find out. And they can't speak yet, can't speak English, but E.T. gives him, you know, some M&Ms. Oh no, they're not M&Ms, because for copyright reasons they had to change it to something very similar to M&Ms, okay. But he gives him the sweeties to earn trust like that. And then after that, Elliot does this, puts his hand up, like that, wiggles his finger, and E.T. copies it, yeah. So he's showing intelligence, he's showing that he can imitate stuff, yeah. And then later E.T. attempts to eat a little toy car, but Elliot stops him saying, no, well, he doesn't know any better, does he? He says, I'll show you what you can and can't eat, yeah. And then, yes, he tells his brother and his sister, Michael and Gertie. He has to tell some people, but not everyone. Yes, and there are many shots in the film where grown-ups are filmed from the waist up, because it's seen from the, not the waist up, the waist down, yeah. You can't see their faces, basically. You can't see the face of the humans because it's all shot from a child's perspective, yeah. Oh, we see Elliot's mother, yeah, but apart from that, all the grown-ups, we don't see their faces because it's at the eye level of a child, yeah, yeah. And yes, there's a bit where Sesame Street's on telly in the background. That's significant for two reasons. Because Sesame Street perfectly captures how to see the world from a child's perspective. I know that because I saw that show when I was a child. And also it's because Gertie is learning how to read and write, and E.T. is learning how to talk, so he copies words that he's seen on the show, and Gertie helps him to talk, yeah. Elliot is the main child, the main star. But yeah, it's good that the siblings were given stuff to do as well. Yeah, Gertie teaches E.T. how to talk, and when E.T. gets lost in the woods, Michael, his older brother, goes and chases to find him on his BMX bike, yeah. Yeah, so the others had stuff to do as well, yeah. And for me, yeah, it's the definitive first contact film, yeah. You know, because in Star Wars, aliens are not unusual. They see them every day. But this is a first, yeah, aliens are unusual, never been contacted before. And yes, the bit where the bloke, his nickname is Keys, he's one of the scientists, he says, I've been wishing for this ever since I was 10 years old. This alien, him being here, it's a miracle. It really is. Yeah, so it's a really big deal that this has happened, yeah. E.T. never had any sequels. Well, it had a book that was like a sort of sequel. But yes, Steven Spielberg was persuaded to make a sequel, but he said no, because, spoiler alert, the end of the film is really, really sad, because E.T. has to go home, and Elliot can never see his best friend ever again. Literally never again, so that's why it's so sad. If he saw him again, that would sort of cheapen it a bit, wouldn't it? Yeah, it's not a big deal if he gets to see him again, yeah. E.T. may not have had sequels, but there was Flight of the Navigator, Howard the Duck, Explorers, all these films about first contact and children in contact with aliens. So yes, yeah. It may not have had sequels, but E.T. had a lot of imitators. On Mac and Me, of course, yeah. There was Short Circuit, Splash, Bigfoot and the Hendersons. Technically not about aliens, but about strange creatures that haven't been discovered yet. And so therefore the government, these creatures are on the run from the government. So the government are perceived as the bad guys, yeah. Television as well. Mike and Angelo, What on Earth? And Alf, A-L-F, Alien Life Forms. Yes, all these imitators of E.T. everywhere. So, okay, if you wanted sequels, you got the next best thing. All these things jumping on the bandwagon to cash on the success of E.T., yeah. But for me, E.T. perfectly captures emotions. The story is very well told, yes. When E.T. is frightened, Elliot feels fear because he has the same feelings as him. When he's drunk, Elliot suddenly gets drunk for no reason. Yeah, and when he's happy, he can feel that he's happy. When he's hungry, he can feel that he's hungry. He shares the same feelings. So there's a real bond between them both, yeah. Why did E.T. choose Elliot to look after him? Is it just a guess? He needed a place to stay? Or is it because he feels a connection with his telepathic powers? Yeah. Because, of course, the subplot is Elliot, his parents have recently split up. A family that have split up, yeah. He wants the happy home to be whole again, yeah. In the same way, E.T. has been separated from his family and he badly wants the family to be reunited again. So he feels his sadness. He feels a connection, yeah. In other words, yes, Elliot is very sad that his dad has left the family, gone off with another woman. And yes, before he proves that E.T. is real, and the others don't believe him, his brother teases him, maybe he saw an iguana, an elf or a leprechaun, and Elliot's very angry, and he says, Dad would believe me. And that's, oh dear, that's quite an insensitive thing to say, but the mother says, well, this creature, whatever it is, if you see it again, tell us and we'll get people to take it away. But Elliot says, no, because then they'll do experiments on it and cut it in half. I don't want that to happen, no. Yeah, so in other words, the innocence of children. He doesn't want the alien taken away. He doesn't see the alien as a science project. He sees it as a person. So yeah, you can't be horrible to it, yeah. Okay, nitpick time. Okay. In 1977, there was a very small budget sci-fi film aimed at children called Glitterball. A very misleading title because we don't see a glitter ball in it. But anyway, it's about a ball bearing, a silver ball, but it's an alien creature that can talk. It's in a spaceship, it crash lands on Earth, and it makes friends with some children, and it needs their help to send a message into space to call his people to take him home. That's the exact same plot as E.T., yeah, except that this one was 5 years earlier, yeah, and on a much smaller budget, yeah. So in other words, E.T. Not 100% original, but I'm not saying E.T. is a bad movie. No, it is very well done indeed, but not 100% original. But if you like, E.T. is like the improved version of Glitterball. Yeah, the story and the emotion is captured much better. Yeah, and yes, there's another bit not entirely original when he floats in the air well, at first it's just him and Elliot floating in the air on the bicycle, the BMX bike, and then afterwards he makes a whole group of children float in the air. Wait a minute, a magical being makes a whole group of children float in the air. That's Peter Pan, yeah, the innocence of Peter Pan, yeah. But the grown-ups, or more specifically the scientists, when they take E.T. away, they want to make sure he's not carrying any kind of disease from another planet. Yeah, they're being practical, but they're taking his freedom away. They won't let him go, so that's wrong. Yes, the grown-ups are a mixed blessing, yeah. And, oh yeah, another little nitpick, if you like. There's a scene where, much earlier in the story, the scientists are looking for E.T. One of them sees what's an M&M or something, or a sweetie, a bit of candy, picks it up and eats it, and yet later on they're all in viral suits. They don't want to catch any disease, so why did he pick it up and eat it? Yeah. And when E.T. sees his spaceship leave him accidentally, why doesn't E.T. just float? He can make himself levitate, float in the air and go back in the spaceship. Why doesn't he do that? Yeah. But in spite of a few minor nitpicks, yes, it is very well done indeed. It's more than a movie. It's an experience you'll never forget. So I highly recommend E.T. Okay, thank you for watching. I'm Anthony Hobbs, and I'm never bored.